Hello, welcome to my first video tutorial on Fief, the Medieval Manor Simulation. I am the developer in the very small studio of Barbarian Tears. We're currently only 2 developers. First thing I'd like to point out when you get started in the game is the rule set. Rule sets are like mod packs. About everything in the game can be modded, from the plants, the creatures, the constructs, the biomes, the climates. We're trying to make everything as available to the user as possible. Currently, only the native rule set is available, so we'll work with that. Let's start a new game. First thing you'll want to do is create a new world. You can choose the wind direction and the climate model. Currently, only the immoral climate is available. And this little graph down below here shows you the upper and lower limits of the temperature for each month. We'll choose the name of our world. And you can click this little flashing button here to choose a random world seed. And we'll generate a new map. And here we are. First you'll see is the elevation view. The lighter color here is the high elevations and the darker areas are the low elevations. So we've got about a big mountain in the middle. If we click on the rainfall button, you can see the rainfall map. And you can click and drag to move around and use your mouse wheel to scroll in and out. So the blue areas here are high rainfall and the red areas are low rainfall. You click on the waterways map and here you can see the different waterways, all the rivers and brooks and streams. If you zoom in close enough, you can see the directions that they are flowing. The next button is the biomes view. You can see we have forests and grasslands in the bright green, shrublands in the brownish yellow, and all the way up to tundra in yellow. Up at the high peaks of the mountains, and we have a bit of evergreen forest there in that darker green. Blue-green? We'll call it blue-green. Alright, so you can see the different biomes. And here we are, ruggedness map. The last button, here you can see the ruggedness of the terrain. So in the mountain areas, you have a lot of high peaks and low valleys, creating a lot of variation, where in the green areas, it's very flat. This last button on the left here is the tile view, and this is what it will look like in the world map. And it basically summarizes all the overlays. You can see some mountains, some rivers, forests. And this is going to be important in the next part because we're going to do manor creation. Click over here, and now you're going to choose a single tile on the world map to generate your manor. Let's find a nice spot here in the forest, perhaps. Currently, the other kingdoms aren't being generated yet, so you have a big empty world to play with, but we'll add them in as soon as we can. This looks like a good spot. If you leave your mouse cursor over the tile, you can get some information about it. We see that it's in a deep lands elevation, it's mildly dry, has a forest, it's flat, and there's a brook. Sounds like a good place. So we'll select the tile. Here you can choose the size of your manor map. Like it says here, this is the largest impact on CPU and memory usage. If you have a slower computer, you might want to consider toning it down a little. Here you can choose the starting season. I think I'll go with summer. And the ruggedness, it'll take it from the tile, but if you'd like to override that, you can choose anything you'd like if you'd like more varied terrain. We will name the manor, and you can choose the manor seed, and generate a new map. Generating a new map, had to pick a different seed here, and we have a good map. You scroll out so you can see the brook running through it. Later on we'll make them a little more exciting. Currently they're very straight. So we have a bunch of forest and a bunch of lowlands with reeds and sand. Looks good place to live. Let's work on our character. You'll notice there's 9 attributes to Fief. Physical, mental, and spiritual attributes. In the beginning of the game, you'll be given 3 points to allocate. I'll stick mine in intelligence here. Later on, as you gain skill levels, you'll get experience points you can use to spend to increase your attributes. These have a large impact on all the different actions you can take in the game. Now you can choose your character's name. Knightley seems like a good dynasty name. And I'm a male. And you can choose your birth month and birthday. And your personality. This will later affect dialogue options once we have a conversation system in place. You can choose your appearance. Currently only have one hairstyle in the game, but we'll work on that. And some colors. Purple shirt looks good. Alright. Next you choose your character's background. The background determines the starting skill levels and starting equipment. Here as a farmer, you'll see I start with 2 levels in gardening and 2 levels in farming. And a bunch of stuff, mostly seeds to get started. I'll choose survivor. And now I'm ready to start the game. It'll take a moment to start up as it simulates at least a year's worth of growth for all the plants on the manor. And there we are. We're started in our world. If you look at the top of the screen, you can see information about the weather. It's clear and sunny. The temperature is warm and comfortable. It is currently sunrise, and it is the 2nd month of summer, Leo. You can use the numpad to move around. Or if you're in laptop key binding, I think it's a little different. You'll notice you have a little message here. This is the message bar. Little info. Go ahead and close that. Here's the examine button. If you click that or press the X key, you can move around and examine tiles, get some information about them. Or you can go ahead and close that. If you right-click on any tile, it'll pop up a little examination window. Since we're looking at an oak tree here, it gives you some information about it. It's a perennial tree. It's very hardy. It's mature, and it's currently blooming, hence the flowers. Same goes for this underbrush. We see that it's blooming. You can see the little flowers on it. You can also look at our inventory. Click on this button here, the little backpack. And you'll see that we started with a sack in our hand. If we click on that, you can see down at the bottom the contents of that sack. And these are the items that we're going to start with as a survivor. We have a backpack. We'll go ahead and put that on. You can drag that to the backpack slot. And there's a water skin. Let's go put that in the backpack along with our barley bread. And let's go ahead and put that sack in the backpack. Alright, you can see all the items in there. And you also notice you have encumbrance. You can only carry so many items. If I go ahead and drop this backpack to the ground, now I have no encumbrance. If you click on the ground button here, you'll see the contents of the items that are below your feet. So go ahead and put that backpack back on, and we'll close that. The first thing you're wanting to do in Fief is find some rocks. So I move over here to this rock debris pile, right click, see that it's a rock debris. And you can click on the Use Skill button, or hit S, go to Survival, Gather Stones, click on the rock pile, and we have a stone. Open my inventory. There it is. There's my stone. It's a pretty heavy stone. We'll go ahead and gather another one. If you want to repeat your last action, you can click on this Repeat Last Action button, which will tell you what action it will take. Or you can just hit R, and you have to choose the direction again. And there you go. Now I have 2 stones. And they're quite heavy. You can see my encumbrance has gone up. Now let's get to crafting. So I click on the craft button here. And you'll see like these component slots. You can drag your items to the component slots. If you want to just move one item at a time, you can hold down Shift. Go ahead and just put 1 rock in there. Down at the bottom, you'll have the options of all the recipes that involve the components you put in there. Since I put in 1 stone, I have all the recipes that involve a stone. So I can nap a stone edge, except I'm missing a tool. If you put your mouse over it, it'll say the tool has to have the survival napping stone skill. Currently we don't have any tools, so we won't be making that. If I click the arrow button here, and go over, I can choose a hammerstone that doesn't require any tools, but it does require labor. However, it doesn't take any time. Frankly, we're just taking that stone and saying, I choose you. It's going to be our hammerstone. So if I hit craft, now you'll see that that stone's been transformed into a hammerstone. If I right-click it, you can see that this is a tool that provides the generic bludgeoning and survival napping stone skills. And next to them is the modifiers they provide. In any of these windows here, you can right-click to open them on an object, but you can also right-click to close them, in case you don't want to have to hit this little X. So let's open our crafting window again, grab that other stone and add it to the components. Now it's still looking for that tool. It's not in our proper hand, so let's go ahead and put that in our main hand, and there we go. We're ready to work. At the bottom, you'll notice it's going to take about 2 hours to nap that stone, given our current skill level and the modifier on the skill. On the tool, sorry. Let's go ahead and craft. So we're crafting away. You notice our stamina is going down rapidly as we're working hard, working on that tool. And you also notice, that we can go back into our inventory, that the condition on the hammerstone has gone down to 20%. You can see that on the little condition bar there. But we have our stone edge, and we're ready to do more. Let's go ahead and actually, let's put that hammerstone in our backpack, put the stone edge in our main hand, and close our inventory. Next, we need to find some branches. So I move over here. Let's gather a branch. But first, we might want to get our stamina back up. There's 2 options to this. There's the slow option. If you hold down 5 on your numpad, or K if you're in laptop mode, you'll notice that we're slowly gathering stamina. Ever so slowly. And if you notice my little debug step counter on the top right, the time is slowly increasing. The other option, which is much faster, is the rest. If you go to actions or hit A, you can go to rest, and it will go really fast. You might want to be prepared to hit Q or escape to stop it when your stamina's full. And there we go. Stamina's full, we're ready to work again. So let's go to Skills, Survival, Gather Branches, and click on the tree. And now we're gathering a branch from the tree. And there we go. Notice that it's already noon. We spent most of the day working. And it's hot. It's getting hot in the summer. So I open my crafting window. And I drag the branch to the components. And you'll see a lot of options to craft. Okay, now that we have our branch, we're going to see what recipes we have with branches. And I think we'll carve a long handle. You'll notice that it takes 14 hours to carve it. We have no skills in carving branches. So, let's go ahead and get started. Watch our stamina quickly deplete. And the condition on our hammerstone, our stone edge. Oh no, we're exhausted. Well, you'll notice that when you stop in the middle of a project, it creates this project object. If you right-click on it and get some information about the project, you can see the inputs at the bottom, the outputs, and some information about the recipe. The condition will tell you how far along you are. So we're 25% done carving this long handle. The weight of the object is based on the input, so the branch weighed 6.56 pounds, so does this. So we're going to drop that into our backpack. And you can hang on to these objects and work on them again later, sort of saving your place. Well, that concludes this first video on Fief. I hope you'll try the game out and spread the word. We're continually working on the game at every opportunity, so expect lots of updates, and we hope you enjoy it.